Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Recipe Redemption. I'm Mike Uyak. It's been a bit of a week, and I felt like having a little treat, being a little fancy. So I got some caviar, but in case you happen to have any concerns about the moral or ethical or environmental concerns behind the production and consumption of caviar, uh, rest assured, this is plant-based, specifically kelp, black kelp. This is from a brand called Caviart, catchy, and they produce a caviar-like product using black kelp. The black kelp, obviously, to make it look like the black sturgeon caviar that has become so famous as a delicacy for the past couple hundred years. Now, for those of you who haven't had caviar before, the taste it's an acquired taste, first of all, and it, well, let me put it this way: caviar is salted fish eggs. That's all there is to it. It's a specific species, or actually three varieties of sturgeon caviar that are kind of the gold standard. The stuff that you buy that you might have seen on your grocery store shelves is actually lumpfish caviar, which is fine. It does a lot of the same things. It goes a long way toward sort of approximating caviar, but there are certain nuances to the real stuff that you just can't get out of the lumpfish caviar. And we eat a lot of fish roe in general in our society today. If you enjoy sushi, you've probably had tobiko, the flying fish roe, the really little orange ones, or you might have had Ika, I think it is. It's the salmon eggs that there are a bit bigger. They're, I don't know, maybe 3/4 of a centimeter in diameter and big and orange, kind of pinkish orange. So we've had fish eggs, but caviar is kind of in a class all by itself, and is enjoyed all by itself, or with sort of certain approved traditional accoutrement. So you either like it or you don't, and if you haven't tried it, it's kind of hard to describe. But it in a lot of ways, it tastes exactly what you would expect it to taste like. It's salty, briny, sort of. It's not just like you didn't just take, I don't know, Morton's and pour salt over it. It has a certain oceanic salinity to it. They're fish eggs, so they certainly have that sort of fishy flavor to them. The membranes, once they've been salted and cured, essentially, they kind of tighten up, and so they have a certain pop if you were to chew them. I'm told that when you're supposed to enjoy caviar without chewing it, you just sort of let it spread out over your tongue and then swallow it. I chew, but whatever. Typically, because I usually don't have it straight. I usually have it with accompanying things, and so you end up having to chew the rest of your food. But supposedly you're not supposed to chew it, and you're not supposed to use metal utensils. You're supposed to, traditionally when you serve caviar, you're supposed to serve it with a mother of pearl spoon, or if you don't have that, then ivory or wood will do, but no metal. Presumably, the salinity is high, the saltiness is high enough that if you were to use a metal spoon, particularly like a silver one, or I guess aluminum, but that the salinity might be enough to actually cause oxidation of the spoon, and you might get sort of metallic flavors in with the caviar. I don't have a mother of pearl spoon. I think I have a silver spoon somewhere, but yeah, we have a silverware set, but we never use it. Stainless steel, I think, is fine. you're not going to get that much corrosion in the amount of time that this is in contact with it. So I'm not too worried. Now, the black kelp caviar that Caviart has produced. Now, kelp, a lot of species of kelp have an emulsion, has a sort of a thickener. It creates a protein called carrageenan, which is used as a thickening agent, that's in place of starches or gelatin, and so it will naturally cause the if you actually like blend up a slurry of this black kelp, and it's just this sort of it looks like an oil slick, but if you spherify it, if you drop it into oil, it will form spheres, and the carrageenan will actually cause it to firm up in a sphere, and then you can rinse it off packaging. And in another video, I'm going to explore doing that exact same thing, taking agar is another thickening component that you can get from some species of seaweed. I will explore doing that with other liquids to make like fruit caviars, things like that for sort of fancy presentation. But in addition to the caviar itself, which is kept chilled, which is why I'm kind of rattling around in ice cubes here, I have blini, which are basically little pancakes. Yeasted little pancakes, so they're not leavened with chemical leavening. Traditionally buckwheat in Russia anyway. I don't have buckwheat, so these are regular flour. I threw in a little bit of mung bean flour just to kind of give it a little different flavor, to also kind of interrupt any gluten formation, so that as I beat the batter up, it wouldn't actually develop gluten and become tough. So hopefully that will be kind of like the blini. As far as the vegetable matter, I have some minced onions, some chopped chive, and some capers. And traditionally, you get creme fraiche. I can never get creme fraiche when I actually want it without making a special trip. There are only a couple of stores that actually sell containers of creme fraiche specifically. Yes, I can make it myself. Do I want to bother? No. So this is sour cream that I've thinned out with a little bit of half and half. Good enough. And oh yes, must have vodka on the side. So, question becomes, Caviart, black seaweed caviar, does it actually replace the real thing? So there is an oiliness. So basically what you do when you spherify these, you drop them into oil, they become spheres, they solidify up. You strain the oil out and rinse them off so that the oil isn't, the predominant ingredient in your container. And then you have these spheres. Now I see these actually still have a little bit of oil, which is fine. I'm not picky, but let's see what I'm looking at here. So they are in discrete little spheres. So now to me, it's close, and yet not close enough. It's lacking the fishiness, and I know certain species of kelp produce triethylamine, which is the chemical compound that you sort of associate with fishy smells. This does not have that. So there is nothing in here other than the visual to sort of cue you in. This is supposed to be fishy. that it's supposed to be caviar. There is a certain light vegetal component to it that's kind of hard to escape. The mouthfeel, yes, I know I'm not supposed to be chewing it, but I did chew it. It's a little, just that tiny, tiny bit more firm than real caviar, than real fish eggs. So there's a definite chew to it. The oil actually doesn't help because it with the brininess and the oil, it almost gives you sort of, and that sort of vegetal flavor almost gives you sort of an olive kind of flavor to it. It's not bad, I wasn't going to spit it out or anything, but to me, it just doesn't. It's not reminiscent of caviar to me. But we're gonna press on. I'm gonna take a blini, a little bit of onion, sprinkle of chopped chive, some capers, blop of my faux creme fraiche, and a nice healthy spoonful of my caviar. I was never sure if you're supposed to eat this like a taco or all in one or what. I'm gonna go all in one. That was a lot. Yeah, again, I'm getting nothing that speaks to me of fish. And you don't want it overpoweringly fishy. You don't want like third world fish market late in the afternoon when all there is to smell are the fish that didn't sell that day. You don't want it to hit you in the face like that, but it is a flavor component that you sort of expect with caviar that I'm just not getting here. What a good vodka. Again, it's not bad. I'm gonna finish this, mostly because I'm thrifty and I don't want to waste the money that I spent on all of this. But going out of my way to get it, I don't know. So here's the thing. Real caviar, and again, the real sturgeon caviar, not the lumpfish stuff you get at the grocery store, can be hundreds of dollars. So if you want a caviar experience and don't want to drop a couple Benjamins on it, this is a potential substitute. Or for ethical, environmental reasons that you don't want to consume the real thing, either because you're vegetarian, vegan, or because you acknowledge that the global trade in caviar might not be best for the environment, or at least not for the sturgeon, the species of sturgeon that we're talking about, then sure, this is this is a substitute if you just have to have something kind of caviar-like. But if it's just the price, you don't actually have any qualms about eating fish eggs. I'm sorry to say, but I have to say go for the lumpfish stuff from the grocery store. It's close enough for us mere mortals that you really wouldn't notice a difference. And obviously, if you could afford real caviar and not really have to worry about it, then you have real caviar. I don't know of anybody who actually has done a side-by-side comparison of the lumpfish to really good Osetra caviar, real sturgeon caviar, and see, is this, twice as good, three times as good as the lumpfish stuff. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that. And I think there's a very good reason why nobody really wants to acknowledge the fact that the lumpfish stuff is actually okay. And it's a lot more sustainable than the sturgeon. But yeah, I'm personally not going to be knocking down any doors to get another jar of this stuff when the lumpfish stuff is readily available a mile and a half down the road. So, what do you think? Are you a caviar aficionado? Um, would you try this, and would you consider that this might be preferable to you? I won't say better, but preferable to you over the real thing. Let me know down in the comments below. And let me know if there's any other fancy things that I should try. Until next time, I'm Mike Uyak. Thanks for watching.